Hello, everybody.
Hello, hello. How you doing? We're here in podcast land.
Here we are, and it's a little weird, like waiting because for so long I've done this in the morning, and now here we are at 4 in the afternoon, and I'm drinking cacao in a new mug for everyone to see.
Ooh, nice.
So these were actually from our retreat this weekend.
Ah,
Um, I Before the retreat, I was like, I feel like we need a spirit animal guide for the retreat. And then I was like playing in my head, like with my favorite ones, like maybe we should do this, maybe we should do that. And then I was like, no, I need to leave it up to spirit to tell me who the spirit animal guide is. So I went to my spirit card animal oracle deck, and I shuffle and I sit and I meditate and I pull the card, and it was the dragonfly, which I'm
ah.
like, oh my God, of course, because dragonflies are all about transformation. And
Mhm.
so it's like, yes, dragonfly is the perfect one. And like, I was so like relieved too, like this cool animal came, because I was like, watch, like it could have been like the groundhog or something like that. Nothing
Yeah.
against groundhogs. I'm sure they have a beautiful message. But I was very happy that we got the dragonfly. And so everybody that came on the retreat got one of these mugs. And then I
Nice.
don't know if it's going to show very clearly on the camera, but inside it says, "All who wander are not lost."
Love it. I see it. Shows
Yeah.
up well. I like the black and white too. Very clear. I love it. I have to say, I love our topic for today, but I'm really intrigued about anything you want to share about the weekend retreat.
And I will say today's topic is inspired by the retreat, because the retreat was called Wild and Free. And I didn't want to keep the same name as the treat, and I was like, what's another synonym for wild? And we got feral, and then I like alliteration, so it's the feral feminine here. But like, these retreats are, I swear, I had all these fun stuff for us to plan, but women are so amazing. Like, I feel like we could just like book a place and show up, and magic is going to happen. But definitely, my retreats are always jam packed full, all kinds of transformational activities to do.
Yeah.
And, everybody walked away from there feeling really good, really empowered, new awarenesses about where they were being, undomestic or being domesticated, and where they were
Mhm.
being held back. And so, creating some freedom in their life by returning to their wild state. Like, we're born into this world without
Yeah.
restrictions, and life happens, and we get domesticated, we get programmed, we learn limiting beliefs, we take on labels and roles that maybe we don't want to take on, we make up stories that aren't even true. And
Mhm.
so I thought that would be it was the topic of my newsletter this morning, and I'm like, I might as well do the topic for the podcast today as well,
Yes.
because I think it's a very important, part of Body and Soul Ministries is all about authenticity. And sometimes it's really difficult to be your authentic self when you don't even know what that is, because
Exactly.
you can't find your way out of all the programming that's happened from the powers that be, your family, your friends,
Mhm.
your
Mhm.
partner, like all of that stuff just
Absolutely.
holds us prisoner, holds us captive. And um, we
Yeah,
all need to learn to be a little more feral.
we do. And that's such a cool word. When you first look at that word, you're like, feral, that's wild. How wild can we be? But it's not necessarily how it sounds. And it does connect us to our instinct. That's really what it's about. Instinctually, who are we? Because that's where we're losing ourselves from the programming. And not to anyone's fault, but we come in and there's a dynamic setup, this family that we're born into. Everybody's got their roles, everybody's got their place. And I don't know about you, but in my day, it was like, okay, children are seen and not heard. And there was a very limited negotiation going on for anything. Dinner was at this time, cleaning up, the chores, whatever case may be, but the parents kind of ruled the roost. It's a little bit different nowadays, with kids growing up. But I think we don't get to know who we truly are. And I want to say up into our 30s, upward, I would say, of into our 30s, late 30s. And I was having this conversation today with my students. I said, well, how perfect, but as synchronicity would have it, this topic, right? I saw the topic come to the email from you, and I'm talking about a lifespan, right? That was my topic today in class. And I'm talking to these 20 and 30-year-olds, and they're thinking they're so old at 30. I'm going, I'm 30 already. Oh my God. I said, what? 30s were great. I loved my 30s. I kind of started to really know who I was then. You had this childhood, which you had to be who you were according to what your parents told you had to be, and your siblings, and worry about that and getting along with everybody. Right. And then, you go to school, you find some friends, you figure out who you like to hang out with, and who you want to be with them, right? That dynamic. And then you grow up and you get to be an adult. Maybe you go to college, maybe you meet an intimate partner, and then you get that intimacy going. You find out who you are there. And then you start like this individuation process. So to me, until you have the individuation process happening and really get to be a little introspective, and learn what you really like, not the people over there that you always were hanging out with like, then you get to know who you are. And it is a process. It takes a long time. And now that I'm in my first something years, it's like every decade, how I look back and developed taught me something different and new. And, so I was telling these 30 somethings, I'm like, wait till you get to your 50s. It's like, then the wisdom comes, the 40s it's developing, and the 50s you're really secure and you have something to share. And I think that's why we're here doing what we're doing, isn't it?
Yeah. But also what's amazing to me is that, because this comes up every day in my space here with my clients, it's amazing to me how many people in their 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s still don't know who they really are and what they want, because they thought they did, but they were, realized that they were just following the programming and doing what, it's almost like, okay, everybody has to wear this certain kind of shirt. And you think you're choosing you by saying, well, because it's me, I want the purple shirt, and Therese, I want the blue shirt. But realizing, like, really, I don't want to wear that shirt,
Yeah.
And so a lot of times, like, we think that we're choosing our authentic self, but we're just really choosing the option that is least offensive of the ones that are available, as opposed to actually getting what we really like. And I can tell you that, especially, like, my whole life I've been playing outside of the box, but every year it just becomes easier and easier and easier to choose outside the box. But even with everything I know, it's still sometimes a challenge. And like choosing to make my hair this way, I'm not going to lie, there was a tiny piece of me that was like, What are people going to say? What are people going to think? And even today, like I experienced that, like walking out in public, the majority of people come in like, oh my God, I love your hair. I love your hair. But I also see the people giving me the looks like, what the, and especially like me being a 58-year-old white female, like who is she to put dread extensions in her hair? And who am I not to? And the one thing I always say, like with me making the choices that I make, professionally, relationshipy, like all of the areas in my life, like my one hope is that not that someone's going to choose to do what I do, but them seeing me choose what I choose, regardless of what other people think, that might give them the freedom to choose what's right for them.
And they do. And I want to say, as a bystander of your life, for how many years now, 17 or so, I've watched you outside the box. Back when we were therapists, you were outside the box. Starting Body and Soul Ministries, outside the box. But also, it's inspiring to watch because it's true. When you live your authentic life, you give permission almost for everybody to relax and live theirs. So when I'm around you, I feel that relaxation. I feel that if I want to say something, do something, be somebody, wear something different, I know you create that safe space for me to do that. And I think the more people that live that truth and their truth individually, and we learn to respect all truths, we will walk this planet together in that very safe, comfortable way of being exactly who we're here to be. And, I applaud you for that. I really do. And I think I've been saying this to my kids, to my students, and everybody I meet: live your authentic life. Please live your authentic life. Don't please me. Don't please anybody else around you. And I know I grew up that way. I was a people pleaser for sure. And it took me some time to evolve out of that. I'll be the first one. I am a self-proclaimed people pleaser, and no longer. But you know what it is I've learned, and the person I live with has taught me. Now he can trust my yeses because I can say no authentically. And I can say yes authentically. Because how many times in the past I was like, all right, I guess I'll do whatever for whomever. Okay, yeah, I'll do it. But did I really want to? No. How many of us have done that? And so now it's, I won't, or I don't have time, or I'm sorry, but, and it's kind of standing in the truth of your no. Yeah. And letting it be okay, because people do have to learn how to deal with the no, especially from a reformed people pleaser. Mm-hmm. It's a hard thing because they don't expect that from me. Right. So, little by little, and I think this is what we're speaking about when we're reclaiming our truth and honoring our truth. That feral is what we're talking about, is living it. Right. And letting others get used to the fact that, yeah, we have one ourselves, and it may just disrupt you a little bit, that it may be uncomfortable a little bit, but the more you do it, the more used to the process the other will be, and accepting of your truth. So
and I just want to touch on, because no is a complete sentence. And yeah, people pleaser in us, like once we learn to say no, we still have to have like a reasonable excuse for our no. Yeah, explain it. True. And no, we don't. Like, it's okay to say no. Yeah. And it's okay.
It's okay. That's right.
Choosing you is okay. And, and it goes back to the whole put your oxygen mask on first. Like, one thing that the airlines definitely have right is you have to put your oxygen mask on first. Otherwise, you won't be there for others.
That's right.
So people get to learn that it's okay. Mm-hmm. It's like mandatory, necessary that you do take care of you first.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it doesn't mean like be greedy, put
Yeah.
yourself first at the detriment, like if,
Mm-hmm.
if someone else is going to die of starvation because you're like, there's one apple left and I'm taking it, like, no, you share the apple, but,
Yeah.
um,
Yes. Yeah.
but it's okay for us to just say no. Like, we don't have to have a valid reason for saying no. Just
That's right.
no is okay.
That's right.
Um, And I love that you say you're a recovering people pleaser. I am too. I am also a recovering perfectionist. Like, that was part of my identity, that I did everything really, really well.
Yeah.
And, you know, to my own detriment, like I would stay up extra, extra late to finish, to make sure that something was done exactly perfectly when it didn't need to be perfect. It could have been good enough, would have been just fine for everybody. But no, I would sacrifice myself for perfection.
Mm-hmm.
And things don't need to be perfect.
No, it's exhausting to be perfect, and there is no perfection. I like to say, like I say to the students, strive for excellence, not perfection, because you really do. It is detrimental to try to become that perfectionist because you're constantly self criticizing, and that's not good for you or anybody else. Because you see the neuroses that come from it. You see the people full of anxiety because they're going to do something incorrect or wrong, and people aren't going to like them because of it. It's a vicious cycle. So it goes back to being okay with who you are and having enough self-awareness and self-worth to go out into the world and own it and be okay with it.
And that's one thing that we talked about too, is like when you are authentic and
Yeah.
someone else comes and complains or criticizes or whatever, it
Mm-hmm.
really has nothing to do with you. That
Mm-mm.
has to do with their issues. And
Mm-hmm.
so I'm like, someone's complaining to me, criticizing to me, I just send them love and prayers because
Mm-hmm.
they obviously have issues if they're not okay with me being me.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
like, once you truly understand that, and I'm not saying that it's easy to listen to other people criticize you or, say things that aren't nice to you. But when
Right.
you fully can understand how that really has nothing to do with you, that is all about them, the easier it is to just walk through life smiling.
Yes, that's it. And yeah, to that point, it's true. From the people pleaser's standpoint, it's all about being liked, wanted, needed, right? And then in the process of doing whatever you think that other person wants you to do or wants you to say or wants you to be, you're abandoning yourself. And that sometimes is felt. And I know we have in our topic, it's like this feral piece of us, this instinctual piece that instead of abandoning ourself, because that's when, and I know you could speak to this with many patients you've served, is that the body will not lie to you. It will start to give you issues, pain, dysfunction, whatever the case may be. And you're going, what the heck is this? Right?
Yeah, when spirit speaks to me, because we've talked about it a lot, because a lot of people come to me because of physical pain. And, their answer is always like, that pain is just a signal of them not fully
Mm-hmm.
embracing their truth, their authenticity. And
Mm-hmm.
so it will show up, that pain in your hip is your body telling you that somewhere you are not in alignment with your truth.
That's right.
And when you get everything in alignment with your truth, your body feels wonderful.
That's right. That is exactly right. And who was it that wrote "The Body Says No"? And the body says no. Gabor Mate. He's got he's got a great book on that. And it's true. And I know you treat it every day. I treat it every once in a while, intermittently, but also, I mean, friends, family. There's a lot of people that, walk around with either chronic pain or some little niggling thing. And as soon as you see the release of that emotional suppression or whatever, um, it kind of dissipates, which is interesting to watch. I mean, and I know you and I, dabble in the energetic field of it because we can feel the energy release. We can feel when the body's energy changes and it's, more in alignment. So energy doesn't lie, and sometimes when we don't tap into our bodies to understand what feels good to us, we forget that we do have that ability to know what's right for us.
Yeah. That's one thing we talked a lot about this weekend was, and yes, we are all intuitive, instinctual beings, but that's also a feminine characteristic. So as women, we need to be a little bit more tuned into that intuition. But because of all the programming out there, so many people have completely lost connection with that. And, I said it's as simple as quieting down and listening to what's inside here. And when you make a choice, what does this feel like? Does it feel good? Does it feel happy? Does it feel excited? Or does it feel inside like, oh crap? Does it feel heavy? Does it feel restrained, restricted? Like people who say they're not intuitive, they're just not listening. And you just have to get quiet for a minute and tune in. Let's say you have these two choices in front of you. Ask your body, if I choose this way, what does that feel like? If I choose that way, what does that feel like? Tune in and make your choices that way.
Yes. Agreed.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you're explaining it because, I mean, we do it for ourselves a lot and we're tuned into the body since, that's, what we've done for so long and how we came on this planet. Right. But I think that, one of the practices you still do a lot is manual muscle testing. So we can cut through it all and show the person, right? Don't you have a patient on the table and you manual muscle test them to say, yeah, your body's aligned with this, or your body is malaligned. It's not with this. And the muscles will not lie, because it's kind of, that's your instinct coming through. And there goes the feral again.
Yeah, it's
true.
Before, like the modernization, there's so many wonderful things that have come with it. This technology that we can be sitting here and having this conversation is amazing. But as humans, so many have become so dependent on all of the technology to tell them, to give them the answers.
Yes.
The tech doesn't necessarily know. And, from the medical perspective, so often people will come in and they're like, I don't understand why they can't tell me what's wrong with me. They do all the tests and they still don't have an answer for me. And I'm like, because medical technology doesn't have all of the answers. And as much as you think that it does, it doesn't. And I always take people back to, I don't know, and I keep saying this, I need to go find it so I can say exactly who it was, where it came from. I'm pretty sure it was a woman, and I think she had neck pain, but I could be wrong. It could have been back pain. I don't remember. But she went to the doctor. The doctor sent her for an MRI. She, on her own accord, decided to go see 10 other doctors, have 10 other MRIs. And so she's got these 10 MRIs telling her what's wrong with her spine. And I believe it was like 67 or 69 different findings. Like that is, amongst these 10 doctors, they found, I'll just say 67 problems. And that's not even the worst of it. The worst of it is then, of those 67 problems, how many of them do you think that all the doctors agreed that she had? Zero. There was not one finding that all 10 doctors agreed that she had. I think there was one finding that 9 of the 10 doctors said she had. But still, like, first of all, like, they're telling her, you have 67 problems in your spine, and we can't agree on any of them. So,
that's, yeah.
You know, and so, yes, we're living longer, but I don't know that our living longer is necessarily bringing greater quality of life. But people have completely lost that ability to like tune in and know what's wrong with me. What do I need? Yes, there can be times that things are, you know, severe, and yes, you need to enroll someone that has more knowledge than you. But most of the time when we're sick, like I think about when we were kids, like you're sick, you stay home from school, you lay on the couch, you got a bag of saltines and a can of 7-Up and the puke bucket beside the sofa, and you rested. And mom made you chicken noodle soup for dinner, you know? But you rested. Like, not every time that something's wrong do you need to rush to the doctor. Like most of the time, you tune in, it's like, no, I just need to rest.
Yes. Yeah, I think we do rely on the doctor visits. We do, even the telehealth visits now, right? They're so popular, but it's true. We have become very reliant on others to diagnose, to treat, and all of that. That's why we're having this conversation, is getting back to yourself and how much your body knows how to heal itself, how to diagnose itself. Right. So, and I mean, I know we could talk about this topic forever.
This could be a whole nother show.
This is a whole nother show. That's right. This is a whole nother show. And this show,
I do want to make sure that we talk about on this show is limiting beliefs.
Okay.
Because that is a huge portion of what keeps people away from their authentic self, because they don't believe that they can be that thing that they want to be. And you know, it's also an interesting topic for me because it was several years ago when I had this thought about limiting beliefs, and my guides were like, all beliefs are limiting beliefs. And I was like, wait a second. And like I sat and thought about it a little bit, you know, because you could go like, oh, but this belief is empowering and that belief is empowering. And a belief can be empowering and limiting at the same time. And so I don't know if anybody could get to the state of having zero beliefs about anything. I mean, anything is possible.
In this duality, I don't know. In this duality.
But when we understand that all our beliefs are limiting, like we can sit back and examine them and then decide, like, this belief that I have, does it serve me? Does it empower me? Do I want to continue to hold on to it? Yes. Or am I ready to set it down? And what new belief am I going to walk through life now with?
That's a good
So point. I'm curious, like, what are some of the limiting beliefs that you've had about yourself in the past that you had to set down and move forward from?
Oh, good.
I know I put you on the spot, didn't I?
Yeah, I just do that. I thought we had a scripted one here that I was supposed to know. So limiting beliefs.
This is the thing, is that, you know, like, we talk about this stuff, and while you're thinking about it, I will share like a very personal one that I recently, and by recently I mean like 6 years ago or something like that. But, you know, I had this belief that I was too old, too fat, not pretty enough to be able to find a man that was worthy of my presence. And, you know, like, I would say, like, yes, I'm open to meeting somebody, but I was walking around with that belief. And so there was no way in hell that I was ever going to find anybody. I also believed that there were no more good men out there, that all the good ones were either taken or not interested in me,
Yeah.
or, blah, 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 blah. Or they don't live here where I live. So how am I going to meet them? Like
Yeah.
so
There's no
many
good man
beliefs
anyway.
that I had to set aside and say, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
And yes, setting them aside changed everything.
Sure
So,
did.
but like when we talk about limiting beliefs, like sometimes people have a hard time comprehending like what limiting beliefs are they holding on to. So I like to give them examples from my own life.
I
So
do. I came up with some. So just as you started talking, I mean, I could go back years ago, 14 years ago. I had the opportunity to become a college professor. I'm not smart enough for that job. Who am I? Am I smart enough for that? Do I have enough degrees on my wall? That definitely the I'm not smart enough um, came up a lot. And I mean, I think that when I grew up, and this can hold true for anybody who's looking at themselves in their later years and saying, what were you told? What were you told? What was programmed into your being as a limiting belief? Okay. So if you were told you're not smart enough, or you told, actually, it's a funny thing, and we do laugh about it. Love you, Dad. But he's like, stupid. What are you doing? Stupid this, stupid that. And I'm like, that stayed, my brother could attest to this, but it's like, I think that was kind of powerful for me, and so I said, no, I'm going for this job. I'm going to interview. I'm going to do it. And by golly, I did. And I worked my rear off. And, going back to school and having and trying a new career and shifting gears, I was always kind of anxious about becoming a therapist or becoming a teacher, or I mean, most recently, and I'll tell you, because you were there alongside me, thinking I didn't have talent, my voice was not useful, and I believed, or had that limiting belief, that I didn't have much to share when it came to singing or voice or vibration or frequency and all that. And I had to overcome it. And look at this.
The world, we who have experienced your voice are all so grateful that you overcame that limiting belief, because that is a perfect example. Like,
that was huge.
The world needs the healing that comes from your voice. The world needs that so bad. And I just, whoever's out there listening right now, like, know that there is that thing that you have a limiting belief that's holding you back from sharing to the world. And the world needs that.
Mm-hmm.
For us to evolve and move forward, the world needs to experience your gift.
Yes.
Not everybody's gift is their voice, not, like,
right.
Gifts come in so many different packages, but finding your gift and freeing it and sharing it with the world is just so needed.
It is. It's so needed, is right. I think it's one of the most important things that we can do for each other. And I know that when you created space for my voice to come out, it came out. And it's the safety and the support. And I feel that way, now as a teacher with my 20s and 30 something year olds who are trying to figure out who they are. And I mean, I can tell you, when I have a student that wants to be a physical therapist assistant, and they come in and they have no interest in the body, I know this is not cut out for them. Right. And it's like I sit them down and I go, what do you want to really do in your life, with your life? What is it that you love? What makes you tick? What's your passions? And I really have to have a big, long talk, because if they're failing exams and they're putting themselves in this box that somebody told them, oh, the medical field is a good field. You always have a job. I think you should do this. This is what you need to do this. lot of parents do that to their kids. And they come in and they're so ill suited. And I mean, I had this one, it's a true story. This one guy, he was an adult. And I said, you're not, paying attention to this class. You're failing the exams, yada, yada, yada. Are you really interested in this? Or is there something else you're interested in? What do you really love to do? He goes, I love to cut hair. I go,
go cut hair.
Go cut hair, run, there's the door, go. But it's like, oh, I want to counsel them all. I want them to come in and I'm like, let's take the tests, or let's get to know who you are. And there's a multitude of things out there to really know who you are. But getting back to creating the safety and creating the space and letting go of the limiting beliefs and drilling that in your head instead of all the things that you were told about those beliefs and about those limitations. It's the reprogramming all about. That's what it is. So here we are.
And I think, obviously you and I do this professionally on a daily basis, creating safe spaces for people. Mm-hmm. But listeners out there, like, think about that with the people in your circle. Like, how can you be a safe space for them to express their authenticity? Mm-hmm. And, it's not just in my sessions here with people or in my retreats, but it's out there in the world, creating a safe space for people to let them know it's okay to be them.
Absolutely.
And we all don't have to like what other people like. Mm-hmm. And, but somebody out there needs what you have and is going to appreciate what you have. We can't all be everything to everyone. It's impossible. And which also makes me laugh because I've been told so many, like, the people who like and love me can't understand that there's people out there in the world that don't like and love me. And I'm like, oh my goodness, you have no idea. I appreciate you that you would think that the whole world would like me, but I know that I'm not for everyone. And even the work that I do, like, I have a husband and wife. The husband came to me after a car accident years ago, and I helped this man, and like, he thinks I walk on water, and he like recommends me to everyone. But then his wife comes to me and I'm just too weird for her. I think even if I did normal stuff, but because I'm weird, I don't know that she could receive what I have to offer. Yes. So she comes in once in a while because he pushes her to come in, and I'm also not for her. And I am completely okay with that. Like, old me, the new me that had, just graduated from school, and, like, my feelings would get hurt if someone didn't like me or someone canceled their session and didn't come in. Yes. But I now realize, no, it's completely okay. And I actually appreciate when someone recognizes, like, no, you're not my person. Awesome. Perfect.
Yep.
Go find the person that is your person.
Yeah. No, it's a great point. And again, as we get older, we understand that it goes back to the people pleasing and the abandonment issues. It's like, it's okay. You will find your people. You will find your soul group, your crowd, your group. That you will, and it's okay. It's okay.
There's that
meme. To sell yourself out, to make the group larger. Don't sell yourself out.
Yeah.
Right.
But there's a meme. I've seen it many times, and I'm hoping now that I've said it again, it'll pop up in my feed again. But like, shine your weirdo light bright so the other weirdos know how to find you. And and it's not just about weirdo, but like putting your truth out there. I experience these conversations all the time where I see people struggling to try and fit in with the group of people that they've met. And it's just so obvious that they're not in their group of people. So they're constantly wearing masks and, modifying themselves to fit in with people
Mhm.
that they don't belong with. And I'm like,
Mhm.
you have to stop doing that. Like, when you can be you, the people that
Mhm.
are your tribe will be
Mhm.
attracted and will show up to you.
Mhm. That's
And
right.
then, like, how much freedom is there in
Oh,
that?
yes.
Like,
It's beautiful.
I will choose
Beautiful.
waiting to find my tribe to show up
Yep.
over trying to fit into a tribe that's not my tribe any day. Because it's exhausting when you're constantly putting on a different mask to make
Yes,
whoever's in front of you like you.
that's true. Yes. Yes.
And then
Exactly right.
it's also like a lot of times too, it's like the entire group doesn't belong together. They're all pretending to be something so that, they continue to stay together. And it's like someone's got
Right.
to be the brave one and step up and just step into their authenticity so that the others can say, like, oh, wow, you can do that? Let me try that.
I know. Only takes one.
Lead the way, lead the way.
I know. Oh, my friend. I know you said you had to end on time. I'm not sure
Yeah,
how
we're,
Okay.
we're getting ready to wrap up. I was just going to ask
Okay.
you, are there any like huge nuggets of wisdom that we forgot to drop on these people today?
Ah, I know that's a good one. I feel like the one thing I want to just say in the end is if we haven't hit this note several times, know yourself and you will know how to heal, how to stay, how to leave, how to love, how to be self aware, not self absorbed. You will be able to give more than you've ever given before by just allowing yourself, your authentic self, to shine your light, because that's really what it is. It's your light and that beacon, right? To attract those who can appreciate you. And that will ultimately give you support to keep going in that direction. Follow your heart, your passions, who you truly are, and what makes you love life. Follow that. Don't sell yourself short. Don't sell yourself out. That's really what it is. Just follow your light and let it lead and bring those who are going to nourish you. I think that's it.
All right. Woo. So,
Woo!
like I said, there is so much more to say on this. I spent an entire 3-day retreat on
Yeah.
this exact topic and working through these things. Um, but I'd love to hear, like, in the comments, like, anybody, if they had any aha moments through this. Like, did you recognize any inauthentic pieces of yourself that you're ready to let go? And if you need any support with that, reach out to us.
Mhm.
What I do is help people with this. And so
Yeah. Same.
super happy to help. My little plug for right now is there are 2 days left to get your deposit in for Egypt if you want to go with us. So
Yeah.
super
Awesome.
excited. We have a very cool um, goddess experience awaiting us in
Mhm.
Egypt. And this is not like the just check it off my bucket list kind of trip. This is an initiation, an activation, truly a spiritual, esoteric, metaphysical trip. Like if you just want to go and see the things and check it off that you did it, we are we are not your tribe. We're not your group of people to go to Egypt with. But if you
Mhm.
want to experience the ancient wisdom, the mystery school wisdom, the goddess
Mhm.
and God wisdom that lives in that land, experience the energy of that land, we are your group of people to go with. And
Yeah.
so, if you have any questions about that, it's on the website. You can reach out to me personally. I'd be happy to talk to you. And so excited this is going to be happening soon.
Oh, yes. It's going to be
And
awesome.
yeah. So with that, I'm going to wish everybody a magical day, and we'll see you next week.
See you next week.